We are recording.
All right. Is there anyone joining us online? I know Dylan said she was coming, so maybe she's just.
Perfect. Right now it's just us.
Give it a minute. Call Elena said she was able to join or not.
Oh.
Maybe she's just logging in.
Make sure it's shown. Let's see if I can zoom. Turn on this. You're good. Sorry. No, it's all good. Yeah, it's working.
I don't want to wait too long. Should we? So we're gonna call the meeting to order, and if they join us, that's fabulous. So we'll call the meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. Did everyone have a chance to read the meeting minutes that James sent out?
Yes.
Yes. All right, thank you. I have a motion to approve the minutes.
Yes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Look at this.
Okay, so, our main objective this evening is to review the, new schematics that came in from GRLA. They brought in a couple of, large versions for us.
And it works much better than mine.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know, that's why I asked them, I emailed them, and I said, can you just drop off a couple of big ones for us?
There's two. Can you go?
No, it's this, that's,
Oh,
that's the three, but.
But I was,
sorry.
oh,
Awesome.
So just reviewing them, it doesn't look like there's a huge amount of change. We basically just asked them to kind of rename some of the spaces, so that it was kind of more inviting to the community based on how we were setting it up. Because we had asked them to have the lift go from the bottom floor all the way to the top floor, which we all agree makes sense. They could no longer do it as a traditional lift. They had to do it as something called a lula, which I guess is not quite an elevator, but more than a lift. It's kind of in between, but it will allow it to go all the way. But I believe that requires a little bit of an addition that they would have to build off the back of the building. Once said and done, we may or may not be able to, afford that. I don't know. I don't know. Just kind of in the brief discussions that James, Andrew and I had, we kind of reminded ourselves that this is just a feasibility study. So it doesn't mean that what we agree on with the feasibility study is the be all end all architectural design. So with that being said, I don't know if anybody else has any comments on the specific schematics themselves.
I mean, I'll chime in. Personally, I love the idea of having the kind of the access and egress being on the side, because it gives you a little bit more space within the community.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's what I saw, it gives you, because the stairs are out there as well, so it definitely improves the rest of the space that we've got.
And footprint wise, we're not losing any land, that is unused grass right now.
Yeah.
The challenge, like you said, is gonna come down to cost and final design. Whenever we have that opportunity, hopefully to get there.
And they'd have to grade it. I mean,
They would, but the nice part is, you have your stairwell there, but you still have the ground access that we had asked to come straight out.
Correct.
And so it still gives us that same type of movement through the space as needed. I
I
was,
kind of think this, for somebody who doesn't walk well or in a wheelchair, it is so much better to come in, you know, like this, or even rather than, you know, coming through the library.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like how it doesn't take up a big chunk of the community space. And, schematics, just to see what the size.
I was gonna say.
Now it's 643, I want to say it was 5 something.
Yeah. It's more.
Which is awesome.
yeah, and you know, on the second floor where the naming convention, the spaces where they still talk about office, study room or whatnot. Again, thankfully, it's a feasibility study, so we can come back and say, cool, this shows us what we could do with it. But we can then turn around and say, it makes more sense to have this be that when we go towards final design.
So the community space before, this is first floor, is that first floor?
This is first.
Hang on.
It's the case.
This is-
Yes, that's first.
So on the first floor, it was 532 square feet, it's now,
No,
oh, sorry, first floor. Sorry, what was I just looking at?
You're on first floor, this is.
Oh, sorry, it was 470 square feet, it's now 532.
yeah.
Which is cool, and on the basement level, I don't know why.
Was,
That's now 643, I don't
yeah,
know.
Yeah. So let's see, the basement,
Oh, 590, and then now it's 643.
Yeah.
and 50 extra square feet.
For those who are watching, we're killing an insect, don't worry.
and we could take it.
We got you. Oh, good. So for
Was it
each,
your hand?
No, it was crawling across you, and then you.
So it's an additional 50.
yes, additional 50 for each one.
That's great.
Which is great.
It's great,
That's really good.
and it makes this more like square,
Yeah. It's
And-
a little
Yeah.
lopsided.
as opposed to kind of being like,
Carved out.
And anybody coming in and out,
Oh, they
you go
do.
through that space at all, which is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right,
perfect, perfect.
it looks like they moved the restroom too over.
Yeah, I did see that because it used to be behind the stairs.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah, and that was just for convenience, I
Right.
think, there's a space we can fit it in there and have enough square footage. I think it's technically larger now, like it is.
Yeah. Oh, the restroom?
Yeah,
Yeah, by about 16 square feet.
and again, for wheelchair
Yeah,
access, movement,
Yeah.
it makes those, a couple of square feet make a big difference.
Yeah, because that you would have had to go into the kitchenette. Oh, that's not the same building.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do have to go to the kitchen, that's.
On that one, on that floor, but, okay.
Yeah, before it was tucked behind the stairs, which is kind of schematic in the middle.
And it really works out even better on the top floor, you've got so much more space there.
Yeah, when I was talking to James, I said, well, we want to do, study space and that, but honestly, it's all office space, like it can be parsed out however you want.
Yeah, right, you could do partitions, you could do whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be full walls, it could be.
Yeah.
This area sometimes is storage, sometimes it's work, sometimes it's studies, yeah, it's multi-purpose.
And we may find also with this type of lift, that we could keep some of that storage space up on the second deck. Because if
Right.
it's a larger lift or a stronger lift,
Correct.
those requirements to go through through flights. But again, that's all adaptable. This is the first draft, you know,
Right.
and we call it a first draft, obviously, for, the architects. This is a lot of hard work and good plans
Right.
to make this, but it allows us to really have that next level of conversation with the town, the taxpayers,
Yeah,
and some other funding resources, opportunities. Do we know that, and I apologize for not remembering, if in the study they identified whether there was asbestos or lead pipes or anything like that in the old building? Or the paint?
Um,
I don't remember.
Are you talking about the first time they did this, quite a long time?
Or with when they did the mechanical assessment and identified, I didn't remember seeing
Was
anything.
anything about remediation or nesting?
Okay, I'm gonna go back and check. We were
From
having,
the Allied, the thing from Allied,
yeah, we were having I was having a different conversation about accessing what are called brownfields funds, with someone else within the town. Brownfields are usually designed for contaminated lands. And it's usually big projects, a lot of money, and it's federal money, which is awesome.
Right,
But often if you can team up with either surrounding towns or other projects, those funds can go to do all forms or many forms of remediation.
okay.
Could include things like asbestos, lead, or other challenges.
I'm feeling like the first time we did this, a study or had the study done, that there was talk of limited asbestos, but anyway.
I only know that we had to get the, when we go out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Ross, absolutely was an
Yeah,
issue.
it was asbestos, yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me
Mhm.
if that also,
Had parts.
yeah.
I mean, somebody lives there, but I think if we tell them,
Yes, ma'am. I think
maybe the paints from the ceilings or
Right,
whatever,
right.
I mean, that needs to
Unless
be,
the tile,
yeah.
you know, the kitchen tile, I don't know.
could be some paint in the,
Right.
paint too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was,
I mean, not that we're gonna, I mean, we have to redo the whole anyways, but still,
I mean, it was 50s, I think. It's good, right?
I think it was the fifties, yes.
I think we gave, the first study that we ever did, I think we gave those to the architects. I don't have that, but I'm sure that it mentioned in there.
I'm thinking, yeah, I'm thinking that they probably evaluated it the first time.
Yeah. Of course. We'd still be up on the site and something pulled it off of there. Pretty sure we did once we started this. Because we didn't want the old, floor plans to be.
That's true.
Just like,
I can take a quick look. But that, I mean,
Yeah.
that was more just my brain in a
Sure,
different
sure.
conversation, thinking
Right.
about options for funding.
Mhm.
You know, looking at things a little different way than we might normally look.
and so there's a possibility of using, what'd you say, was it
Brownfields
brownfields?
funds, so it's EPA funding and
Okay.
brownfields programs have been existing since, I believe. Ooh, I'm gonna get this wrong, but I'm gonna say the eighties, maybe even back to the seventies.
Yeah.
Because we realized pretty quickly that we really screwed up a lot of land with different things, different types of manufacturing and other
Yeah.
processes. So the federal government at that time said, hey, we're going to put money forward to clean that up because we want everyone to actually have clean drinking water. If we don't clean some of those things, we can't get to clean drinking water. That program, and from my discussion with this other individual, thankfully, it's a very bipartisan program, which means it's continued, it hasn't been cut through a lot of the other stuff that may have from either EPA or other types of funds. So brownfields is going strong and might be a possibility, but I digress.
No, that's okay. That's totally fine. It's all relevant. So, I mean, as far as going back to GRLA, I mean, do we even think it's necessary at this point to make any additional changes prior to them doing their next step?
Their final report, I don't think so.
I mean, like I said, we were talking about shuffling some spaces around, but honestly, it's not that,
I mean, renaming spaces is
yeah.
easy,
Not
so
that-
if we're just gonna say, you know,
So I mean, if we just said, as is, and there's potential for us to, make something storage as opposed to a study area, just leave it at that, and then they can continue with, because they have more to do. I mean, they have more that they need together.
yeah, so they have to do their whole full report,
Right.
feasibility report,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
One thing Andrew did say, sometimes he didn't get the same one, look at, he's still alive, he's over there now.
No, that's a different.
No, it's not, where's he?
No, the neck of the. Oh.
You know how to take it outside, don't you?
It's probably
Yeah,
not-
it's on you.
Yeah, it's on me. Okay, I'm going outside.
Yes, it is.
Hey, if they're in my house, or library, they don't deserve. If they're outside, I'll leave them alone. Okay.
Good to know.
Andrew was mentioning that, you know, with the storage upstairs, that may or may not make sense, because that's a lot of
Going
going up
up
and
and
down,
down just for.
for
We
storage,
could
so,
swap out the study space,
Sure.
the
storage,
exact.
Right, and then like, just for example, down in the
I mean,
basement,
that storage is nice with.
down in the basement, there are 2 study rooms. So the study rooms, you know, I would swap those upstairs, move the
Yeah.
storage down to the
Sure.
basement, because then you'd have.
Right.
You'd be able to move things out from storage for that community space.
Right.
And use it,
Mhm.
or whatever you use.
Absolutely.
yeah, one could be French storage, one could be
Yeah, it's
whatever.
like swapping, it's basically swapping.
But other than that, I don't see any
No.
other change. I mean, we can ask them to make that,
I mean, this is all
change it.
relatively the same.
the change in just labeling,
Right.
but space wise, it doesn't have to change.
Yeah, I would go.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it? Okay, thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Not so much anything, but since from the original.
From the original, okay, all right,
No, yeah, these are actually first.
okay.
Okay, yeah, you just get through real quick.
Yeah, that's just assuming, and speaking, that's an old.
No, it's okay. And that's, you know,
Yeah,
But were they also, well, they still would have had to get rid of it even if they tore it down. They still would have had to dispose of the.
right,
correct. So that, yeah, when you go through that process, you have to, how to say, encapsulate it, remove it, and then dispose of it separately from the rest of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And it is, it's not hard, but it takes more time.
Right.
Because you don't want to be, if you cut it and make it into tiny little particles, it's not good for you.
I think Kent did, you
Yep.
know, carriage house,
Mhm.
so they didn't want it to disperse.
I would go, my opinion is leave it as is, because this gives us the square footage. It shows us what's possible, and it allows us to come back whenever we're able to make those next steps and say, this is awesome, except here's the couple small changes we would ask. And
It's not necessarily gonna change the cost.
No.
If we make
No,
that
we
change.
just literally call this study room, call this
Right,
storage.
right.
I wouldn't even change the layout. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think layout needs changing at all. I think that's fine.
And this is
You know,
now
what-
growing on me. I know the first time I saw this, we're like, an addition, you know what I mean?
I would
But,
say that initially, yeah, I'm okay,
right. Space wise, it looks better.
definitely.
And maybe and you're still putting the stairs in, whether you put them in here or here.
you're correct.
You're still putting in this lift or whatever it's called, Lula,
Yeah.
whether it's here or there, so maybe just building that part of the building is not that much from a cost perspective overall. I don't know.
We're still not tearing down the building.
Right.
Correct.
We still desire to use the structure
Correct.
and add on, space for smart access.
Yeah.
Right. The increase in accessibility is
Agreed.
definitely.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Yeah.
The only thing I wanted to bring up, and since Dylan's not here, I'm gonna just read an email that she had sent to me after I sent out the agenda. She said, I wanted to ask if there would be any work done to the exterior of the building, surrounding yard, parking lot, garage, etc., as well as the roof, gutters, etc. Anything that has to do with how rainwater is collected and discharged. I am on a Mendon stormwater storm water task force. That was,
Say that again.
and wanted to ensure that if you are doing any work in the area around the rectory, that specific types of storm water management are considered. I know we are focusing on the interior right now, but if there's work done outside, I just want to make sure that we are in contact, that she's in good contact with the engineer to make sure that we're following those
Yeah.
guides. So I wrote back and I said, that's a great question to be discussed. I said, we are planning on keeping the facade to some degree, but I'm sure a roof, if it needs to be redone, we'll look into that, and then obviously we'll do whatever we need to follow the guidelines of what needs to happen for stormwater. Because that's important to all of us anyways, it's not like we're gonna just dismiss that, it's something that needs to be done anyways.
Yep.
So I don't know that we need to necessarily bring it up at this point to GRLA, or,
You know, that would be next steps as we're starting to talk. Once we've actually said, hey, yes, we think we can get funding, and the town agrees that we can start going towards what final design would look like. That would then be the next step.
Okay.
What is your exterior changes? How would that task force, how would we make sure we meet their requirements?
would that impact pricing of how they,
The question is, so
Maybe.
the question would be, are they considering a new roof and factoring that into the cost? Sure.
it's not just the roof though, I think it's more,
No, I mean, I know she mentioned.
so I was hoping she was here, maybe she forgot it was at 6, is gonna log on at 7, but, I wanted to mention to her that we did do the minor repairs to the
Right.
roof.
Right,
And whether that's enough or not, we don't know, but
yeah, it would have been about, was it last? No, it would have been the year before, we did repair on the chimney.
Yep.
Because there was leaking into and over the stairway.
Right.
And there was peeling of,
But the footprint doesn't change except for if we extend the elevator.
correct,
But
Right, then-
other than that, but the water drainage is not gonna change. The slope of the property is gonna still be. that
Correct,
corner
okay.
over
I think if you were going to change the parking lot, I don't know, but we are changing the parking lot.
I don't.
so I don't think
we have
they'll change
plans for that. Like,
unless we could determine that we would allow for more parking out front. That would be the only thing, if we were able to see if we could,
which is something we looked at a while back, just when we were looking, talking about the parking lot, that you could expand it to the front of the property there and get about, I thought it was said about 10 spaces. Again,
Yeah.
10 to 12, I think.
That's what it will affect the drain
Right.
right,
But that's.
right now.
That's a waste of. Yeah.
so we'll just let it be that she will be in contact with GRLA directly when we get to that point to make sure that we're following all those.
Well, and GRLA may not be the architect we use when we actually go to final design.
That's true.
Oh, true.
We likely have to go back out to bid,
Okay,
because it will not be just a feasibility study.
It will have to be
It'll be a
up to
full
bid.
design.
correct,
And we may come to the table and say, okay, full design, this is our design. And now it's a architect oversight with construction costing. So then that's going down a little bit of a different road.
okay,
But yeah, honestly, it'd probably be pretty cool if it was GLRA, because they've already been involved in each step,
Right.
but, we don't know, I don't know,
If you put it out to bid.
but we have to put it up to bid at that point anyways.
I believe.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But yeah, there's no reason that we wouldn't want that involved with each step. And if that's the nice part about Dylan being on this group already.
Right.
We make sure that she's connected.
Right.
And we can ask her what are other ones we may not know of.
Correct,
We only know what we know. And you know, on the senior center side, you guys had to go through a whole bunch of other parts when looking at different design and
yes,
different groups. And that actually might be the next kind of transition of this small group of figuring out what are those connections we don't know and how do we start those conversations? But yeah, I think for where we are today, one, it's pretty incredible we've gotten here this quickly. And gotten a product that is logical and that they've listened to us and our concerns.
Yep.
And it gives us a good stepping stone to start the next level of conversations. So we don't just have a building brought in next to us.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, the time was compressed, so I'm thrilled that we're here.
Oh, yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so then I guess the next steps for us is we can send a message to, an email to GRLA. Let them know that we're, we like where things are going with this second round. And that they can go ahead and move into their next step. And that we might have a few minor like labeling changes, but nothing that should change anything
Doesn't change the footprint.
as far as the footprint or layout of what they've given us.
Yep.
Okay,
Awesome.
I think this is the most common question that we had over the summer with the study rooms.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. For sure. Cool. All right, sweet.
Any topics that we haven't anticipated in the last 48 hours?
I was gonna, mention that I did go into Submittable, which is the
oh, yes,
platform
thank you.
for, submitting the final report. Actually, my final report is right here. And I also submitted, all invoices, all proofs of payment on Submittable. It now says that, it's marked as, our project is marked as completed. So
Super.
presumably, that will mean that everything that I submitted, good to go, and they just need to send the reimbursement to us.
That's excellent.
So hopefully I'll hear something from the treasurer in the next couple of weeks. Good. So I think we're in good shape there.
And actually, we ended our last meeting not knowing whether we would need to kick off another meeting because of whether we would need to approve funds being
Right.
used or whatnot.
Right.
And we stayed with the town administrator to kind of be our touch point to fix all that.
Right.
It was all, so that we are all aware, that was all
Right.
solved. Everyone was able to fit the widgets.
Right.
And if there needed to be used funds that we already had to
Right.
pay for what we needed
Exactly.
to actually kick off that reimbursement.
Yeah, they handled it very well. I was very impressed.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, essentially,
quite a different,
it was put against that budget line and which I didn't know you could do, but you can.
so, yeah, so you had said earlier that it technically put us in the red until we
Right.
get the reimbursement, but it was very manageable
Yeah.
according to
Not a.
Jeremy
really
and
big a deal about
the account, the treasurer and whoever else had to play a role in that.
And Jeremy's really good about this and acknowledging that, debt is not a bad thing. Smart debt is helpful and smart for a town to be able to manage flow and movement of money. So things like this are easy one to fit into that spot and be like, we know it's coming in for penny,
Yeah,
So it's almost a no-brainer, so. But it didn't require us as a subcommittee to do a thing.
No.
It's really nice. They did it all on there.
And,
yeah, well, that was
and
good.
yeah, it's really just been waiting for the final product from GRLA and waiting for the reimbursement. But I think, and if I haven't heard anything within the next couple of weeks, I'll potentially send a message to the person I didn't send a message to and not hear from, but but I will try, we'll figure it out. I'm sure. Go on.
Did we set the August trustee meeting? 14th?
Yes,
Yeah, that's right.
August 14th.
Okay, I don't know why I didn't put it on my calendar.
That's fine.
So I will be away.
Okay,
I will be away.
I don't think I'm coming back. Ever. No, I might be, I can't recall if I'm coming back on the 14th or if I'm coming back on the 15th. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the 14th.
I'm not sure. I've only gone for a couple of days, but
I don't know that there's much action that we would.
we are gonna need to do interviews.
Because it's gonna be a bit of a hold pattern until we get the final report. We could probably give ourselves a month off.
Mhm.
Okay.
And bump it out to September, assuming there's nothing else pops up and
Fine with me.
causes chaos.
I'm gonna put
Oh.
a trustee meeting in here anyways, but
Just speaking of September, we do have a book club meeting at 7 on the 11th, so I don't know if we want to push it up to the 4th. Or,
Fourth, the Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day is the first.
Labor Day, yeah, so, I mean, I don't know if that would work, it doesn't matter to me, or we could try to do the 18th. I just know that if we.
I
if the
can't
book
do the
club-
18th. Tara would kill me if I didn't show up at the gym on Saturday, but it's her birthday and she insisted
That you'd be there.
Okay.
that I'm at class.
That's all right.
So I'm gonna go for the 4th.
Okay.
I think that makes good sense.
Okay.
It's Monday, the 4th? Oh,
Thursday.
wait.
Thursday, September 4th.
Okay.
So we'll have to see if that's okay with
With the
trustees.
trustees, see if that would work. I mean,
Because you wouldn't be able to do the trustee
Well,
meeting on
I mean,
the.
they could do the trustees meeting on the 11th, it's just we couldn't follow it up with the rectory because.
Oh, so that's
footnotes
okay.
is at 7.
I'm
So
not-
it's all-
that's okay.
whatever you want to do.
6 and 6.
Okay, you could do it on the 4th and the 11th.
Okay,
And that's also, we don't have to have that exact answer today. That's something that we can decide on outside of the meeting.
Yeah, true.
And send a message out, but
True.
I think it's smart to pick the 4th.
Okay.
I might be able to be here, but that's okay. I mean,
okay,
smart ass from us, you went church.
thank you. Do we want it at 6 if there's not gonna be a trustee meeting on the 4th?
Yes, yeah, let's call 6 o'clock. If the trustees come back and say, hey, we can do everything on the 4th, and maybe we can adapt and say, too bad you guys do yours on the 7th, so. We got the time block for it.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Recording ending.
No, not yet, but we will be.